Formaji YouTube video k lia oper jo tum ny story lik kdhs k oper tai men strong hook lik k do. Hook jandar. Suspenseful our curiosity si barpor hona chaye k mary vauer engage ho jn our video ko ntk deken Cinderella wiped the dust from the cold wooden floor. The fire in the hearth was almost gone, leaving shadows that crept along the walls. Her steps echoed softly in the empty room. A faint wind slipped through the cracked window, brushing her cheek with a chill. The sound of laughter floated up from the distant ballroom. She could smell the sweet perfume of flowers and hear the shuffle of silk dresses. Her heart ached with longing, a mixture of hope and fear. The shadows seemed to lean closer as if listening to her thoughts. Suddenly, a floorboard creaked behind her. Cinderella froze, every nerve alert. The room felt smaller, the air thicker, almost pressing against her chest. A cold draft touched her neck, and she shivered violently. Something moved in the darkness, just beyond the glow of the dying fire. Her breath caught, sharp and shallow. She wanted to run, but her feet felt rooted to the floor. The shadows twisted, taking shapes that seemed alive. A whisper echoed through the room, soft and taunting. It sounded like her own name, but stretched and distorted. Her pulse raced, each beat hammering in her ears. The walls seemed to lean in, closing the space around her. A hand, pale and almost transparent, grazed her shoulder. Cinderella screamed, but no sound escaped her lips. The shadows consumed the corners of the room. And in that instant, she realized she was utterly alone, yet not alone at all. Cinderella's chest heaved, her small hands clutching the edge of the hearth for support. The shadows swirled with a life of their own, curling toward her like smoke in a storm. Every sound she made seemed amplified, a whisper of fabric or a timid breath echoing unnaturally in the room. Her eyes darted across the walls. The once familiar corners of the room now looked alien, distorted in the flickering light. She could see shapes moving just beyond her vision, shapes that vanished when she tried to focus on them. The wooden floor beneath her feet creaked again, but the noise did not come from where she stood. A strange scent filled the air, earthy and metallic. It was the scent of something decayed, yet somehow familiar, like a forgotten memory. Cinderella swallowed hard, feeling bile rise in her throat. Her mind screamed to leave, to flee to the safety of the garden, but her body refused to move. Then, a soft, almost imperceptible giggle drifted through the air. It was high-pitched and fragile, like glass breaking softly. She spun toward the sound, but no one was there. The shadows behind her deepened, reaching toward her with slow, deliberate movement. Her fingertips brushed something cold and slick along the wall. It pulsed under her touch, like the heartbeat of the house itself. A chill ran down her spine, and she felt the hairs on her arms stand on end. The fireplace dimmed further, as if swallowed by the advancing darkness. A voice, low and distorted, whispered again. It spoke words she could not understand, but the tone was unmistakably hostile. Cinderella backed away, one step at a time, her eyes wide and scanning for any escape. The door to the hallway loomed in the distance, yet it seemed farther than it had ever been. Suddenly, the floor beneath her shuddered. The house groaned, a deep, resonating sound that seemed alive. Cinderella stumbled, her hand hitting the wall for balance. The shadows lunged forward, almost tasting the edges of her dress. A sharp cold touched her ankle, like icy fingers wrapping around her. She yelped and kicked, trying to break free, but the cold gripped tighter. Climbing swiftly, her heart raced, thundering in her chest, each beat echoing like a drum in a cavern. The room seemed to shrink further, suffocating, leaving no room to run. Then, a flash of light erupted from the fireplace. It revealed a figure standing in the corner, cloaked in shadows, its face hidden. Cinderella squinted, trying to discern its shape. The figure did not move but radiated a presence so intense it made the hair on her neck bristle. A whisper became a hiss, filling the room with cold, biting words. Cinderella pressed herself against the wall, trying to disappear, to become part of the shadows. Her mind raced, searching for any explanation, any reason why the house seemed alive with malice. The figure tilted its head slowly, as if studying her, its gaze invisible yet piercing. The floor shuddered violently, throwing her to her knees. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the walls groaned in protest. Cinderella tried to crawl toward the door, but the shadows shifted, forming shapes that blocked her path. They were not just darkness. They were hands, faces, claws reaching for her with intent. A loud crack split the air. A mirror on the wall shattered, shards raining around her like frozen rain. Reflections in the broken glass showed not just her face, but others, faces twisted in fear and despair. Cinderella froze, staring at one reflection that moved independently of her, eyes wide with silent terror. A cold voice echoed from every corner at once. "Why do you hide? You belong here." Cinderella tried to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. She could feel herself trembling uncontrollably, yet a strange force held her in place. The shadows recoiled suddenly, leaving a narrow path illuminated by a faint, sickly green light. Cinderella knew she had to move, had to escape, but her legs refused to obey. The floor beneath the light seemed slick, like water